Fantastic cover.
It is a fantastic.
It's really good. Is it real?
What do you mean?
As the hands are not put in afterwards?
No, it's all real. That was my book editor, and that was the publicist.
All right, everybody, speeding.
You're quite old to be starting out as a model. 20.
How old were you? 17?
20.
Oh, that was quite old back in the day, no? Yeah.
Oh, look, see? Yeah. There are other late starters who have made it, she said. I once had a new face who was 26, which is probably the equivalent of 50 in model years. We should have called her an old face, not a new one. She was virtually geriatric.
I think I remember Isabella Rossellini was mid-20s before she started, and so was Stella Tennant.
Really?
Yeah. Back in the day, it wasn't out of the ordinary to have a 15-year-old girl. There was one girl in the 90s who, she had really long hair, the girl, I can't remember her name. She was Dutch, I think, and she was 14, and her dad came with her on jobs. It was all very, you know, very proper. She was well looked after. But you know, thinking back now, that was far too young. I mean, I think models should be 18.
Yeah.
I do, because I've seen so many casualties. Listen, some girls can really cope with it, and some girls, when I was living in New York in the 80s, with lots of models sharing apartments and all that kind of stuff, some of the girls were 16, 17, you know, they had their own apartments in New York, they became independent very quickly, and it was an education for them. But in the great scheme of things, it probably wasn't right.
I think I'd come from something else. I was doing law.
Right.
I never felt, oh God, this is my only shot at anything in life.
Well, this was like a bonus.
Yeah, I thought, well, that sounds interesting. A lot more interesting than studying.
I think that's good. I think a little bit of education. What you don't see when girls come in a casting is their personality.
No.
Because it's just two-dimensional. And sometimes a girl comes in and she's not really memorable, but then you've spent a day working with her and you realise what an amazing personality, and I think good photographers can bring that out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about how you look, it's the whole package.
Yeah.
It's the whole how you behave, how you
Yeah.
how you don't behave.
What do you think made a supermodel a supermodel? What was it?
God, it wouldn't have just been one thing, but I think it was a lot to do with personality. It was a lot to do with, it was A, they have to be photogenic. And a lot of those models, who we all know, would have almost been the freaks at school. They'll tell you, I was a freak at school, I was bullied because I was 6'2", my eyes were on the side of my head, my mouth was too big, my nose, and when they get in front of a camera, for some reason, all those sort of weird features, all those unconventional features the camera loves. Yeah. And it's usually the girls who have something individual about them, and also have, I think most of those incredible supermodels, you want to be around them. Yeah. You know, they're got an aura. Well, they bring a good vibe to the day, you know. Not to say that none of us didn't have difficult days, because of course everyone does, you know. But I think when you're all working to the same goals to create that image or that cover or whatever it is you're selling, it's sort of, it's a collaboration. I mean, Linda's talents were very different from Claudia's talents or Cynthia's talents, because Linda could jump, swing a handbag, toss her hair and smile and throw high heels up in there all at the same time. Yeah. All for one shot. And the photographers, the client knew that we were going to get that from Linda. Yeah. You know, Linda would always get the worst. She'd get the worst clothes. She'd get the most hideous, cheap clothes to wear. Why do I always get these? Because she could make them work. Yeah. You know?
But unfortunately, the entire production team had made the decision to get completely and utterly off their faces on a selection of pharmaceuticals, to the point where none of them really knew what was supposed to be happening, who was supposed to be manning the cameras, or, as the shoot wore on, where they even were. By 10 PM, the hairstylist had stripped off his top and was dancing on one of the podiums, By 1 in the morning, the director of photography was slumped in a corner wearing a magician's hat and drooling onto his own chest. By the time I was leaving, the hairstylist had been down to his pants on the podium, doing one-armed press-ups and mock filleting his hair-curling tongs.
I think I know him. I did a show once, and it was pretty full-on, and it was... explain this.
I love the cogs turning. The cogs turning, like, do I really want to tell this story?
And we all got a bit merry because we've been there all day. It was a charity thing, and we were having a bit of fun. It wasn't like big fashion week serious business.
Yeah.
It was a repeat. And I remember someone got so drunk they slumped against the wall. And the wall wasn't really a wall, it was just polystyrene between the stage and the audience and the whole set.
And with the audience still there?
Yeah. And the show it was the middle of the show. And the wall came down and the whole backstage was exposed and this person was on the floor. And I think they thought it was all part of the theatrics.
Did you all wave? What did you do?
So funny. But how did you learn your craft? How did you learn? You learn it on the job, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you learn it from other models, watching other models, or you just pick it up, you're natural?
I think when you work with good photographers, you learn from feedback, don't you? Because you couldn't see what you were doing, but you would know from the sounds of the clicking and the
wow and the ooh and the ah.
Yeah, and everyone going, oh, that's great.
If there's no ooh and ah,
you would get used to knowing that if you sank in with your head at a certain angle, that was going to work.
Right, okay. I know some of those girls, they started very, very young, very shy, didn't speak a word of English, and some of them you see now in their 40s and 50s who are 5 languages, 3 kids, really successful businesses outside of modelling, some of them still modelling.
Yeah.
And it's quite incredible when I love to see them blossom and use it as an education.
Yeah.
Because it is an education. You're in all those countries.
Most people don't know that, and some of the most successful people that I know in my life now were models.
I know. It's incredible.
And most girls were really smart and could have actually been doing anything they wanted, but they had chosen to model.
Also, they had been chosen.
And been chosen. While I was working here, she's the only one that's actually making sure it all fits together.
What am I doing here?
I'd had the crash course in how to be a supermodel, and I knew the score. I'd overhaul my diet and eat fresh, unprocessed food. I'd take control of my smoking habit and replace it with exercise. I'd cut my hair, or else I'd grow it. I'd wear a leather harness around my breasts and be photographed on a rock, on a beach with sandy thighs and tousled locks. I'd have money, I'd take cabs. I'd swan about in heels and never wear flats, and I'd always, always look the part. Supermodeldom would all be mine.
And which boxes of those were ticked?
Literally nothing.
Oh, come on.
Do you want to take any clips out?
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, should I have been doing that at the same time? I struggle with that.
2 things at once. You're not Linda. I'll have a tunnock.
Do you want a tunnock?
So I love all things tunnocks. I've got tea towels, I've got beer mats, placemats, I've got the whole tunnocks thing. I've got tunnocks Christmas decorations. It's so good, aren't they? Have you had the snowballs?
Oh, that's delicious.
Just flip it around the other way. Give us the full supermodel.
I was wondering how much marshmallow I had stuck to my face.
I think it adds to it, doesn't it?
The era-defining cut was the kind of the same thing as the drastic cut I'd identified as a new face model. It was the hair makeover that would, if you were lucky, win you the best editorial shoots, grab the attention of the big designers, and send your career stratospheric. You must have done some era-defining cuts.
I suppose my era-defining cut was the sort of boyish cut on Princess Diana. That was
no biggie.
That was the biggest one, I suppose. What it came from was I was introduced to the princess through Vogue, and Patrick Demarchelier, the photographer, and she wanted to change, so we kind of agreed that we'd get rid of the perm
Yeah.
And sharpen her hair up a bit. And I mean, it wasn't really, it didn't feel drastic at the time, but I suppose when you look back, it really was.
So you didn't feel trepidation doing it?
No, it was just a lady who wanted a haircut, you know.
Just a lady who wanted a haircut.
Yeah, lady on the job who wanted a haircut.
Look at this
like
hair.
you, if you were going to say, Sina, what about if we cut my hair, you know? You just do it. You just kind of, you're not going to make a big song and dance about it, are you? I don't know, maybe you are.
What would you do if you were going to cut my hair?
I think your hair is really good at this length.
There seemed to be a correlation in the modelling world between not being paid and having a really shit time. The world of modelling very vaguely mimicked the real world in that usually the worse the job, the less you got paid and the less likelihood there was of having a good lunch spread put in front of you. Conversely, it seemed that the more you got paid for a job, the better you were treated and the more likely it was that you would have to do something so piss easy and quick that you would barely believe your luck.
Well, the old thing is you get what you pay for, isn't it, really? It's that whole thing. There's no such thing as a bargain, is there? Really?
No. Well, you can read the rest of it. There you go.
Thank you.
Should we do a little head side to side? Do you want to stay in, Sam?
Do I? Yeah, great. All that. I love all that. Love that. Yes, baby, go. Yeah, yeah. All that is really good. I love it. Fantastic. But do it even more. Give it a good old shake upside down. Throw it back. To the side. To the side. You're not keen on doing to the side, are you? You're not keen on
That's to the side, isn't it?